So one thing that Emily and I wanted to talk about, because this is something that, comes up for us a lot. We are a nutrition forward, nutrition focused practice. And so, Emily, what does that mean? What does that mean when we say we're nutrition forward or we're nutrition focused?
So I think, it just means that we really start healing the body through food. A lot of our food supply right now is not created equally. You can see all these movements going on right now with banning food dyes and banning different ingredients. And even, the World Cup right now, you saw that one of the teams actually flew in their own food. I see a different reel every day saying like how different things are prepared. Did you see that one, Kim? How they bleach
No.
like the bag lettuce that's all cut up and prepared, and like they have the salad dressings, and it makes it convenient to be healthy. It seems like half the stuff that's added in it is full of chemicals, but like they're actually bleaching
Yes.
the salad, the lettuce before it goes in the packaging. And so for nutrition forward, we want to make sure that you're not just eating the right calories or the right macros, but the right quality, because all of those, the ways that your food is processed it affects the body in different ways. So
100. And just like another example, just to piggyback off of that, is like everybody's like these baby carrots. Those are not baby carrots. Those are full-size carrots that have been bleached and tumbled to all be that uniform size. You're getting full-size carrots. So why not just buy organic whole carrots? And if you want them that size, cut them up.
People are always asked like, why do I have to buy organic? And some things you don't. Like, well, you can read about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 or whatever, and it kind of tells you like the things that you don't have to be as picky about. But there's all this news that just came out about strawberries and how, unless it says organic, this is what every company is doing, but they tested Driscoll strawberries and found all these carcinogens on them, all the pesticides that were sprayed on them, and it causes cancer. So, you feed your kiddos these strawberries and yourself these strawberries, and you're following these meal plans, and they're destroying you from the inside out.
So the fact that we're nutrition forward is that, when we talk to you about what you have going on, whether it's we look at your labs, we've done some functional testing, whatever it is, and we're going to first talk to you about what you're actually putting in your body. And it comes up all the time. So women have always been taught to control their calories and to count their macros, right? So we've either done low fat, we may have done high protein, we've done low carb. So we know what macros are, and we're good about counting them, but we take that one step forward. For a lot of people, especially women, you tend to be under caloried a lot of times. And so sometimes we have to reverse diet you out of that so that you're not so restrictive with the fuel that you're giving your body when you're asking it to do a whole lot more, right? So yes, calories are important, especially if you're looking to lose weight, but everybody that comes to us isn't looking to lose weight. Some people are looking just to feel better. Right? They're looking at like, I don't want to have that afternoon slump and reach for the caffeine or reach for the something sugary. That again has been, one of those things that we've been told, our moms told us, have a snack if your energy is low. And what do they give us? Something sugary, something sweet, something, that's going to spike our blood sugar. And then we're going to be in that low energy state again in about 90 minutes. So that's also some of the things that we have to unlearn, or that we have to teach you what's true and what's a pile of BS.
When you start taking things out of your diet and start replacing them with clean things, both food and like chemicals you clean with, switching those out, your hair products, switching those out, I talk about this all the time. You're peeling back all those layers of the functional medicine. And so it's not just nutrition, but it's also in your home products. And then when you add those things back in, they affect you so much more. I had a dance recital this weekend and I ate the same as I normally do. I exercised that morning, got my leg day in, and then got ready, put on my clean makeup that I have, but I reached for hairspray that I haven't used because I don't use hairspray. And I sprayed that bad Larry all over. And like 2 hours later, I was so exhausted, like absolutely exhausted. And I was like, what? Why am I exhausted? Like I had my normal amount of coffee, But I'm pretty sure, as crazy as it sounds, it was the hairspray because it was so scented and such bad chemicals in that. It was right on my head, right, and my body couldn't keep up with trying to detox from that. And that's
Right.
just one ingredient, like
That's
one ingredient.
Yes. And women come into contact with about 160 chemicals in their home. Men come into contact with about 85, only because women use more scented things, more skincare. They usually do more cleaning, not always, but usually they do more cleaning. And so, or childcare, so we've got our hands, in a lot more products, and most of them have forever chemicals. They've got scents in them, they've got preservatives in them, and we are just exposed to a whole lot more. So I think that we've talked about, the fact that it's more than calories. When we're talking about nutrition forward, it is more than calories, and it is more than just macros. People sort of, if we're looking at like the layers of the onion, people say, okay, calories is kind of that outer layer, and then macros is that inner layer. But we're going even deeper than that. And one of the things that we talk about is quality of food, because you can have, and we're not just talking about organic stuff, okay? We're talking about if something has about the same calories and about the same macros, there's some that is much more nutritionally sound than others. And for example, the best example that I can give people is rice. So a lot of people grew up on rice. I am not a rice eater because I just didn't grow up that way. I'm a potato person. I have since gone from white potatoes to sweet potatoes. But let's just take that for example. If you're a potato person and you switch from white potatoes to sweet potatoes, you have actually tripled the nutrition that you're getting from the same calories and the same macros. That's a simple switch. That's an easy switch. If you're someone who's a rice person and you switch to sweet potatoes, exactly the same thing. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about nutritional density. We're talking about whole foods because they still have the fiber in them as well. If you can eat like avocado, the less processed it is. Like if you just slice it up, like you get an avocado, you just slice it up and you put it on whatever you're eating, you're going to get more nutrition out of that, more fiber out of that as a whole food than what you're going to get out of guacamole.
Well, yeah, look at the ingredients too. Like you can't just go to Hannaford or Food Line or whatever food store you have near you and just grab guacamole. If you look on the back, it's so hard to find one that doesn't have added oils, because seed oils is an inflammatory that it's again going to wreak havoc on your system. If you're going to make your own guacamole at home, Kim, and you just do the avocado and the lime juice and the onions and the tomatoes, all whole foods.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wrong.
No, it doesn't.
And so people are thinking, I don't have time. I'm looking for convenience. My life is really busy. So we kind of want to say something about that as well. Rest is has to be built into your schedule. Otherwise, you're not going to honor that. And you cannot be just going all the time. So that's one thing. The second thing is you need to do an inventory. How much time are you wasting? A lot, because Emily and I do this for ourselves and for each other. And we scroll, we doom scroll. You know what I'm saying? We do these things that don't benefit us in any way. We could have meal prepped something that takes 30 minutes. So it really is, when you come to us with excuses, this is what we're going to ask you to do. We're going to ask you to take inventory of your day. We're going to ask you, what does your schedule look like? Do you have everything on there? Do you have family time on there? Do you have downtime on there? Do you have scroll time on there? Because if you don't have scroll time on there and you look at your phone and you have 4 hours of scrolling on your phone, what did you give up on your schedule? And you could have certainly done even a 45-minute meal prep or a 45-minute make dinner at home rather than going out to eat somewhere else.
And I'm gonna be honest, like I've got 2 kids. Last month was Maycember, they call it, because of all the after school stuff and the sports stuff. And so like last month, I was so stressed. I was recovering from surgery and I did not prioritize these things. And I would keep saying, well, I don't have time to make lunch today. So I'd go and I'd buy, not even buy healthy lunches, Kim. But between the stress I put on myself last month and not giving myself any downtime and the prep time I could have had and didn't, I gained a lot of weight last month that should not have been gained because of stress and not eating correctly. And when I went out to eat, I'd even choose the salads, I'd choose the gluten-free wraps. I'd try to stay on my plan, but I wasn't eating enough macros. I wasn't eating enough healthy. I don't know what they're prepping with. And so the funniest part is it takes 30 minutes to go out to eat any meal at a minimum. I don't care where you are. By the time you go and you decide what you want and you order it and you have to wait.
Let's be honest.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't go to drive-thrus. They've creeped me out. They're gross. All the stuff that's come out, that's not even on my list. And I apologize, but it's disgusting.
Totally agree.
Like I tell my kids, it's a literal poison. Anyways, by the time you go, let's say to a sandwich shop and grab a sandwich or to your, breakfast place and grab breakfast, whatever, it was taking me 30 minutes. And then I was still gaining weight because I wasn't making, the right choices at home. I could have spent the same amount of time and made my meal. If I would have prepped on Sunday, spent that 15, 20 minutes to put in a to-go order, picked up my groceries, gotten home, that same amount of time would have been enough time to cook it and eat it at home. So it's just scheduling.
Once, and then you can have it. People think meal prep, cooking at home is what we want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
But meal prep is kind of the hack for that because you cook it once and then you have it all week. And people are like, well, I'm a picky eater. Even better. If you're a picky eater, then you know exactly what you're going to eat and you can prepare it. And then people are like, well, I don't want to eat the same things all the time. Then don't. Then have a couple vegetables, have a couple of different, if you're still, you're still eating a fair amount of carbs, we want you to have those fiberful starches, then have that, but cook different ones and have a couple of different proteins and then you mix and match. It's like food animals, granimals where you can like food animals. Let's
yeah. There we go. You got something there.
You add this protein with this, with this fat, with this, carbohydrate, you're good to go. And it's going to look different, for every meal within reason.
Was today, Kim? That was quick and easy. Deli meat, which you got to be careful with. I only get off the bone. It only has one ingredient, maybe 2 if there's salt added. So like you got to be careful. I'm not pro deli meat, but this one. So I did turkey off the bone with cucumbers and cherry tomatoes and balsamic, and that was the lunch today. And I'm going to make a smoothie here in about 20 minutes. Yep. Like that took no time at all to prep. I weighed out my meat, made sure it was 4 ounces, so I'm getting enough of the protein. Same with the vegetables. Easy peasy.
So nutrition is what we want you to focus on rather than we're big girls now. We're big girls and big guys now. So we know that calories in, calories out does not work. That's a lie, because if you are so low in calories that your body is going to put the brakes on your metabolism and you are not ever going to burn any fat. You're just not. Your body's going to store everything. It's going to hold on to everything. If you are just macros, and let's say you're doing low fat, which I do not recommend, but let's say you're hard-headed and you're not going to listen to anything and you're still going to do low fat, guess what they're replacing the fat with what you're eating? They're replacing that with sugar, and that is going to spike your blood sugar. That's going to cause inflammation. And again, you are going to store every calorie that you take in. So let's say you're doing both of those things, that you're restricting your calories and you're going low fat. Now you've got 3 hits against your system. Your body has to process that stuff. Your body has to detox all the extra stuff that's in there. And you are putting an extra burden on that without giving it any nutrition to do that.
Hello, 80s.
Hello, 80s. That's right.
I know.
It wasn't just one step that got us here. It was gradual. Like the first thing we had to villainize fat. And then we had to have this 100-calorie snack wells. And we had to, calorie restriction. You know why? Because when we cut the fat out, that didn't work.
Nope. You're talking about my childhood. That was all our pantry had was snack wells. They were so gross. So gross. Yeah, Shout out to my mom. She watches every week, Kim. So this is nothing against my mom, but that was the 80s and 90s.
I'm not watching you guys anymore.
Right, you're calling me out. It was hard. Like, when I started doing the faster way and my mom joined me, she was very confused because all of her doctors and all of her Weight Watchers and all of her healthy eating groups that she's attended have all said the same thing: low fat, no fat, count your calories. And so to say like butter's not the villain, you can have avocados, you can have red meat, you can have eggs.
To have those things.
Please, that is what we want over everything else. That was very hard for her to get out of. And she still tells me, it's too much food, Emily. There's too much food on this plan. I can't do it. And I understand that. I totally get that, especially, we age and our appetite changes. But if you're eating the right things, then you feel a different kind of hunger. You don't feel bloated. You feel hungry, and you fill up differently.
So let's go back and talk about cravings, because one of the things is that if you're not eating nutritionally dense food, there's two things that happen. Number one, if you have like a lot of high fructose corn syrup, that does not trigger your satiety hormone. And so you can eat 10,000 calories and not feel satisfied and not feel full. So you're going to overeat. That is one issue. The other issue is that, a lot of times if we have stress in our lives, like all of us, right? We all have stress. It's emotional stress. Yes, we can identify that pretty easily, but it's also physical stress from what we're eating and what we're doing. And if we're resting, and are we getting outside? Are we sleeping? Right? All of those things also lead to stress in our lives. We always think of salad, but if you're putting 350 calories of trash on your salad in your salad dressing, you're not getting the nutrition out of this raw food anyway, because most of us have low stomach acid. We don't digest our food well. We don't sit down and get in the parasympathetic tone so that we can digest our food well. And we also don't chew our food enough. So we don't mechanically break it down. We don't have the chemicals to break it down, and we're not taking the time to break it down. So we're not getting the nutrition out of that. If you have a stressful life, you need to eat cooked foods. Skip the salads. Have potatoes or have green beans or have peas. I mean, those are high in protein as well. And they're going to keep you satisfied a whole lot longer. Okay, so what's the next thing? Food quality. You touched on that. Read labels, right?
Do you know that there's food dye in marshmallows? White marshmallows. There's food dye in marshmallows. Like toothpaste, there's food dye in toothpaste. So and it sounds crazy, but when you talked about corn syrup, these things don't only impact your weight and your mobility and your inflammation in your body. It really affects your behaviors and your mental load as well. Like my house, I am that mom, and I never thought I would be. I read every label. I make sure that everything we have in our house is clean. I get anxiety when we're out and they're offered this processed food. I don't even call it junk because that's not fair, but junk food with dyes and corn syrup, because they turn into different human beings.
Yes.
And it's awful. So this is also affecting your mental health. So just know that when you reach for those food dyes and you reach for those corn syrups and fake sugars, it takes a toll on your anxiety, your depression, your mood.
Yeah, I think that we get the idea that we can somehow manipulate our hormones, but our neurotransmitters are just our neurotransmitters. And I've said this before, but neurotransmitters are the other side of the hormone coin. They are messengers, and you can affect them by what you're eating. Not only the nutritional value, because you have to have the raw materials to actually build them, but also all the extra stuff that's in there. Let's talk about MSG for one. You talk about dyes a lot because you've got kids and you've seen it. You can see it. When Carson has had something that has dye in it. You message me. I know this kid had dye. What I'm saying? And so one of the things that you also have to look at is the sauces that you put on your food. They've got trash in them. They almost always have seed oils in them, but they can have MSG. MSG is described as giving that umami flavor, right? That's like a comfort flavor. That's like a savory kind of good mouthfeel. It's a neurotoxin. It causes inflammation in your brain. So it can affect how your neurotransmitters affect, have an effect in your brain, how they're taken up by the cells and how they're actually released by the cells and how they're reprocessed. But it causes the lining of your brain to be inflamed.
Yeah, this literally happened to me on Sunday. We went out to Thai food for Father's Day, and I do my best to stay gluten free, but we had sushi and they put some kind of brown sauce on it. And I ate it because I did. Between that and we had crab ragoons, which was gluten. Monday, I had such low processing. I felt like the brain fog was back. I couldn't process quickly. I was trying to get work done and I had to apologize for being so like mumbled with my words and confusing. And I was like, it's the MSG, it's the gluten. Like it takes over. And
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because gluten is one of those things and people are like, well, I've been tested. Well, I'm just going to tell you that gluten is not, people didn't have problem with gluten before because it wasn't so processed. It didn't have glyphosate on it. It didn't have, those are separate things.
right.
But we have genetically modified our wheat. All the wheat in the US is different than wheat that's in Europe or wherever. And so gluten is not gluten. You may not be allergic to it, but I guarantee the majority of people are having some micro inflammation at the gut level.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think about our gut as being rough and tumble. It's not. It's one cell thick with a gelatinous like gel over top of it. And that is what keeps all of that stuff that you're putting in your body, keeps it out of your bloodstream. And if you have microinflammation at the tip of this is not going to protect you. And so you're going to get all of that stuff. In addition to the gluten, you're going to get all of that stuff into your bloodstream that's going to affect everything. It's going to overwork your liver because your liver is going to try to get it out of your body. It's going to cause inflammation. So your hormones aren't going to get their messages through. Your neurotransmitters aren't going to. You see how one thing is not just one thing. One thing is 10 things.
And Kim, we mentioned the World Cup and how one of the teams brought their own food in. But the other thing is I'm watching all these wonderful reels about all of these people from around the world coming to America and trying barbecue for the first time, trying ranch for the first time, getting free refills on their soda and having so much soda. And they're all joyful and they're having fun. And all I can think of is they're going to feel horrible.
Maybe that's how we win the World Cup, is that we make everybody sick on our food.
But like these things are banned in their countries for a reason. One guy, he had a Diet Coke and he was Italian and he's like, I'll have another. They're free. And it's like, it's so true. But like, people are like saying how great ranch is. And I'm cringing because I'm like, oh my God, the soybean oil and ranch is horrific. Like they might not feel it right now, but they are going to feel it in a couple days.
And so, when we talk about food quality, we are not just talking about we're talking about nutritional density. We already talked about that. Like pick foods that have color to them, that have fiber in them, that,
whole food.
Are real food and are nutritionally dense. But the other thing is the quality of the food. So you can have, hamburger that you buy from the IGA that is probably the meat from 15 different cows, or you can spend a little more money and go a little more quality and you can have grass-fed, hamburger that you get from a local farm that is maybe from one or possibly two cows. And even if they are, they're all grass-fed. Butter is not bad for you, but you want to spend the money to get grass-fed butter. So essentially, all the things that happen to us when we eat crap, same thing happens to the animal when it eats crap. So you're not getting the benefit from that. If you're someone who eats animals, you're not getting the benefit from that because that animal is dysfunctional as well. All the things that happen to us, brain fog, inflammation, you're just getting what it got if it's not eating its, grass-fed diet.
And you have to be careful too, because now the thing is it's got to be grass-fed and grass-finished.
Right.
Because grass-fed just means they give them grass and grains. But grass-fed and grass-finished means that they're having grass from start to finish. Like, it's mind-blowing how they keep sneaking these things in and disguising what we have.
If you live somewhere that somebody has chickens near you and they allow their chickens to free range and they get bugs and they get whatever they can find and they get maybe vegetable scraps and that sort of thing, please get those eggs and then tell me what you think about the color of the yolk, because I say an orange yolk means a happy hen. And they got to eat bugs. They got to scratch in the dirt. They got to forage. That's what they do. I think it makes them happy if they get a worm.
On paper it is.
Take advantage of what's in season. This is the other part of food quality. Eat local. Eat what's in season. Yes, do we have the capability of getting a watermelon in December? Sure. But does it have any nutritional value? Probably not. It's probably picked before it's ripe, and it's probably shipped, and it's probably got something on it to preserve it while it comes, all this way so that you can have watermelon in December when you should be having root vegetables in December.
But just the taste alone, like we get the organic strawberries, and it was a big fight in our house, because it is more money. Like it is definitely more money, but they taste so much better too. They taste like strawberries. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries. You know what I mean? Like they actually taste good. So that's like the other like win. And like I understand price. I hear it's expensive. I'm there. I'm in the trenches with everybody else. Like our grocery bill is crazy. Yeah. But we're also not going out to eat. Buying lunch every day used to be $5, $10. Now it's like $15, $20. And that dinner is, $20, $30 a person. So like, yes, groceries are expensive, but I promise you, going out to eat and your medical bills will be way more expensive than the organic strawberries.
And then the other thing that we want to talk about, so we have calories, we have macros, we have like nutritional density now we have quality of food. Now let's talk about rhythm of eating, because the other thing is that we can DoorDash any food anytime, right? We don't even have to put our bra on or put pants on, right? We can get food delivered to us. Most of us have a refrigerator full of stuff, half of it's bad, and a cabinet full of stuff that we're probably never going to cook, unless it gets to the end of the month and we're out of money, right? Mm-hmm. So we have access to food 24, and that is never how our ancestors were raised. That isn't how God designed our body. So there's a rhythm to eating. And the first one is, what would you say, Emily? What's the big first thing?
Breakfast.
Yes.
You got to get those right calories and those right proteins in your system early so you have the energy to carry you through the day. And I know intermittent fasting is huge, but even if you're intermittent fasting, you stop eating at 6 and you have breakfast at 6, that's easy. 12 hours is a great rest time for your digestion system.
Exactly. And I tell people, especially women, because we do a little bit is good, a lot's going to be a whole lot better. And they do 18-hour fasts and I was one of them.
Oh, I remember.
I was one of them. But I noticed some weight loss and I felt really good. And then the benefits started to fade. And so, I say start at 12 hours. If you feel fabulous at 12 hours, go 14 hours. Do that for 3 months and see if you still feel fabulous. And if you do, then maybe 16 hours. There's not one solid thing, but I will tell you that for most women especially, fasting 16, 18, 20 hours is too much. You're putting way too much stress on your body and you are not getting the benefit that you think that you're getting. But the other thing is, so the 12-hour overnight fast, and I want to talk about the rhythm. We want you to eat the bulk of your calories for breakfast and lunch, because that's when you're most insulin sensitive. So later on in the evening, you instead of having like a huge dinner and then going to bed in a couple of hours, that's not the best scenario. But having those bigger meals during the day when you're most insulin sensitive, meaning that your cells are still listening to insulin and you're putting that, you're getting the carbohydrates and the calories into the cells for energy production rather than just storing everything. Have a smaller dinner. Maybe cut out some of the carbs that you have at night, because sometimes you'll sleep better if you don't have as many carbs, because you're not spiking your blood sugar at night and then having it dip and waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some people only eat 2 meals and they eat their meals kind of one first thing, and then one kind of in between traditional lunch and dinner. And then they don't snack. The other thing is snacking. We walk by the lounge. If we work outside of the house, we walk by the lounge, there's something there. We just have a little taste of it, have a little snack, and you're spiking your blood sugar all day long.
And the big takeaway from that is when you stop that, you sleep better at night. I always say, like you've taught me, space out your meals 3 to 4 hours and don't snack in between. They don't want to do that. Oh, well, it's because I have to pee. It's not. It's not.
It's your liver works hardest at night. So it's either struggling with energy, like it doesn't have enough energy because you've got so much work for it to do, or you've had those carbohydrates late at night, and then you spiked your insulin, you spiked your blood sugar, you spiked your insulin, and now your blood sugar's dropped, and you release cortisol that wakes you up to preserve your life, to increase to get carbohydrates and get glucose out of storage and give your liver some energy. But that cortisol is also going to wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is way longer than what we imagined, but we had a lot to say.
And it makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
I had a friend that has been asking me for like 8 months now to help her, right? With her, she throws up every day. Every day. She's been to the GI doctor. She's given them her food journals. She's had all of these GI testings done. They couldn't figure it out. I said, well, let me see your journal. This was in December. So she gives me your journal. I said, you got to cut out processed food. You're eating McDonald's, you're eating Hamburger Helper, you're eating Eggos, like you're eating all processed. You got to cut that out. And I'd cut out dairy and gluten. She goes, well, these are the things that I can stomach. So it makes me not throw up as much. I said, okay, like, do you do you. Well, a month ago, she met me in front of the dance studio and said, guess what? I solved my own problem. I said, oh, what'd you do? She goes, I cut out dairy and gluten. I said, oh, like I told you to do 6 months ago? She just kind of looked at me. And she goes, yeah, I haven't thrown up since I stopped. You don't say. And your medical professionals and all of those specialists, not one looked at your food and said, stop eating McDonald's, stop eating Burger King.
We are not making a ton of money doing functional medicine. Okay. We are not. That's why Emily has another job and a half. That's why I have a full-time job that I do anesthesia. This is something that we are absolutely passionate about, and we give away a lot of free information, We want it for you. We can't do it for you. So we're throwing this out there. We're throwing you a lifeline. You have to reach for it, and you have to help us. We'll pull the rope in, but you have to kick your legs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to help.
And we've been there. We've done it. I had donuts every day for breakfast, lattes full of sugar. I mean, we have done the hard work. We live these lifestyles. We live the low fat, no fat. We live the no carb. We've done all of these things. I've gone to professionals who said you need to lower your cholesterol. I've gone to professionals saying you have this and this and this wrong and you need to get on these meds. We have been there, and we did not take those answers. We did not accept what was being told to us because our guts told us this does not make sense. So right. Kim dove into functional medicine. I put myself into all the wellness podcasts and functional medicine things I could find to educate myself. And that's why we are here. And that's why we are passionate and raising our voices about changing your lifestyle. We've done it. And every time I flip backwards and I'm 2 steps back, I think, why am I here? And I go into the mental place of like, oh, I need to cut my calories. I need to do more cardio. And then it's like, oh no, I just feel worse. Oh, I need to use the tools that I taught myself, that we learned to get us out of this hole we've dug ourselves into.
And this is not the easiest route, but this is the most direct route. And once you embrace it and it becomes who you are, this is the most sustainable. Because 18-hour fasts are not sustainable.
Medications is not.
And doing 2.5 hours of cardio every day is not sustainable.
But meal prepping is.
We're trying to keep that from happening by catching it when you're just at dysfunction.
It's your life. You make the choices. You can keep doing what you're doing and keep getting the same results, or you can try something new like what we're trying to help you with and hopefully get better results, because that is the goal of this, is to help you be ultimate, to be the best you can be.
Absolutely. We don't want you just hanging on and surviving. We want you to thrive. God made us to thrive, and we want to help you get there. So thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Kim.
Your time. I appreciate all of your wisdom always.
I love these talks. Love you.
I love you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.